هذا وقد وصل الرئيس عبد الفتاح السيسي الآن إلى مقر مسرح الجلاء، حيث يفتتح بعد قليل عددا من المشروعات التنموية والقومية المهمة عبر الفيديو كونفرنس، وذلك من مواقع مختلفة. مشاهدينا الكرام، هي مصر تتحدث ليس بالكلمات وحدها، ولكن بالكثير من الإنجازات وبالكثير من العمل المتواصل الذي لا يتوقف يوما بعد يوم، بل تزداد وتيرته رغم الظروف ورغم كل المعوقات التي حاقت بالعالم وحاقت بدول كثيرة. لكن الاقتصاد المصري استطاع أن يصمد خلال الأشهر الماضية في إطار الإجراءات التي صاحبت جائحة كورونا على المستوى العالمي. إن مصر تقف شامخة بإنجازاتها. خلال السنوات الماضية لم تتوقف مسيرة العطاء ولا عجلة التنمية ولو لحظة واحدة. إن عمال مصر يصلون ليلهم بنهارهم في سباق لتحقيق نهضة أممية على كل المستويات وكل القطاعات المختلفة. ها هي طرق مصر تتحدث بشكلها الجديد. ها هو العمران
President عبد الفتاح السيسي.
جنوبا وشمالا، شرقا وغربا.
Egyptians have been working around the clock relentlessly. It's a great Egypt which speak in not in words but in action, in accomplishments and in the language of accomplishments and achievements. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have been following up every day a new accomplishment, a new achievement on all levels. Egypt today Egypt is speaking about herself, apparently referring to a famous poem by a great Egyptian poet in which he says that Egypt should be proud and talk boastfully of itself and its achievements. Dear viewers, in a few minutes, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has already arrived at Al-Gala Theatre, and in a few minutes, in a while, very short while, will be walking in front of of the audience and in front of you to attend the ceremonial opening of another number of important and paramount projects. All those bridges, flyovers we have seen in recent days being erected, being set up across Cairo and across Egypt, and all other achievements, all of these refer boastfully to the how speedy Egypt has been coping with all hurdles, coping with all challenges. For example, the sector of industry, which has been relentlessly and unwaveringly supported by Egypt, has recently unveiled a number of projects. In recent years, the government has been showing eager and keen interest in the sector of education, for example. Of course, not only in education, but all sectors of government have been given relentless support by the present government to express genuine determination, genuine intent on the part of the government to help the country make larger strides forward. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in a few minutes is going to declare open another number of important projects. Is going to declare them open via video conference. Overall development has been seen everywhere in all sectors of the government. However, health and education have been given special importance.
الطريق الذي مهدته مصر أمام القطاعات المختلفة.
Well, Egypt has
على رأس
Egypt's government has given top priority to these twin sectors of education and health, because it's the health which is going to build a person or a citizen of good health who's capable of building a future Egypt. And it's of course education, because a healthy person needs education.
تضاف إلى ما يحدث في نهضة الوطن بعد أن اكتظت العاصمة الأم القاهرة على مدى.
Well, new satellite cities have been sprawling up in recent years, over the past 20 years. On top of them, of course, being the administrative capital.
اليوم مشروعات للطرق كذلك مشروعات لمباني كثيرة.
New road projects are going to be declared open today. We have seen here, well, ladies and gentlemen, we see here a new airport to be declared open, apparently at the administrative capital. However, talk about Egypt's accomplishment in recent years cannot cease, because there's a lot to tell about present Egypt and future Egypt as well. Well, the government, all Egyptians have been working around the clock relentlessly in order to give Egypt large leaps forward, to help Egypt make larger strides and leaps forward.
في بنائه الشخصي وبنائه المجتمعي والأسري.
Actually, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has recently given instructions that education should be given special importance, because it's education which serves to help build man, to build Egyptian man, to build Egyptian citizens. They cannot be built in the absence of very good or good education. Egypt has been there since the cradle of civilization. It was Egypt which has been there since the dawn of history broke over the entire globe, over the entire world. Before the world came to existence, Egypt had been there. Well, the projects we are going to witness do witness to the determination of Egyptian man, to the fact that the Egyptian man is intent on building its own country. We are going to see, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to see President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi opening these new projects. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the internal announcer is announcing the coming into the hall of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, the president of the country, and who doubles as the supreme commander of the armed forces as well, has already walked into the hall, into the auditorium. Your Excellency, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, hope, actually, ladies and gentlemen, we have been coping with life's challenges and difficulties with hope, because it's hope. Because had it not been for hope and optimism and upbeat note, Egyptians wouldn't have been able to keep abreast of all these challenges. Your Excellency, President, the Cairo, the city of which is dubbed as the city of 1,000 minarets, is today witnessing a number of important projects being opened. Well, Cairo has been hosting a number of historic neighborhoods. The Egyptian government has given top priority to refurbishing, renovating all the quarters and all the neighborhoods of Cairo. The best thing to start our day with is to listen to some verses of the Holy Quran being recited.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فلما أن جاء البشير ألقاه على وجهه فارتد بصيرا قال ألم أقل لكم إني أعلم من الله ما لا تعلمون قالوا يا أبانا استغفر لنا ذنوبنا إنا كنا خاطئين قال سوف أستغفر لكم ربي إنه هو الغفور الرحيم فلما دخلوا على يوسف آوى إليه أبويه وقال ادخلوا مصر إن شاء الله آمنين صدق الله العظيم.
صدق الله العظيم. الحضارة هي ثمرة
Civilization is the fruit of human efforts in order to improve the quality of people's lives. So, Egypt has been working hard in order to improve the quality of Egyptian lives. Today, right now, we are going to present, we are going to screen, to show a film which is produced.
الزاهرة العامرة مدينة الألف عام على مدى تاريخها الطويل
has always been a famous call made by radio announcers every now and then beginning the transmission. This is Cairo, the flourishing and thriving city. The palace, built long ago by Baron Impin, that Belgian man who came here at the beginning, at the turn of the 20th century, and built Heliopolis, or Misr al-Gadida, New Egypt, or Heliopolis. However, Egypt's Heliopolis neighborhood, Cairo Heliopolis neighborhood, has been there for a long time, and it needed refurbishment. It needed to be refurbished, to be renovated with a number.
وعشان نلبي مطالب الحركة العمرانية ونضمن السيولة المرورية كان لازم نحقق لمصر الجديدة نقلة حضارية.
ليه احنا عملنا برنامج ضخم لمنطقة مصر الجديدة؟ كان في نقطة اختلاء كبيرة جدا في المنطقة ديت، عشان تتحل احنا بنعمل في حدود، يعني على الأقل في المنطقة ديت في حدود 10-12 كوبري يحلوا مسائل ويخلوا التدفق يزيد، ثم السعة بتاعت المحاور بعد ما كانت 2 حارة و3 حارة بقت 6 حارة أو 5 حارة على الأقل. احنا بنتكلم على شرق القاهرة كله.
ودارت عجلة تطوير طرق وكباري مصر الجديدة وامتدادها بأحياء مدينة مصر. في المرحلة الأولى طورنا 10 طرق بإجمالي طول 15 كيلومتر، مع إنشاء 5 كباري بطول 3 كيلومتر. وفي المرحلة الثانية طورنا 5 طرق بطول 8 كيلومتر، ده غير إنشاء 5 كباري بإجمالي أطوال 2 كيلومتر. وفي أحياء مدينة مصر طورنا 5 طرق بإجمالي طول 13 كيلومتر، مع إنشاء 3 كباري بطول 3 كيلومتر. أما في محور روكسي رمسيس فطورنا 6 طرق بطول 10 كيلومتر، وبكده حققنا معادلة مثالية لربط وسط البلد بشرق القاهرة. واستمرت عمليات التطوير في محور الفريق إبراهيم العراني واللي بيمتد من جسر السويس في اتجاه مدينة بلبيس، فتم الانتهاء من إنشاء 8 تقاطعات جديدة بإجمالي 13 كيلومتر تقريبا، ده غير 8 كباري بإجمالي طول يقترب من 2 كيلومتر. وفي طريق القاهرة السويس استمرت عمليات التطوير على مرحلتين. في المرحلة الأولى انتهينا من إنشاء الطريق الرابط بين كوبري أبو غزالة والطريق الدائري بطول 8 كيلومتر، مع إنشاء 2 كوبري أمام منطقة جاردينيا. في المرحلة الثانية انتهينا من إنشاء طريق بطول 38 كيلومتر عشان نحقق آلية الربط بين الطريقين الدائري والدائري الإقليمي، مع الانتهاء من إنشاء 6 كباري في مدينة الرحاب ومدينة الشروق. كما تم إنشاء وتطوير كباري المشاة والتقاطعات، واللي هتفضل من أهم العلامات المضيئة في تطوير مصر الجديدة. منظومة حضارية مثالية لنقل الأفراد والمركبات وتقليل زمن الرحلة من وإلى حي شرق القاهرة مع ربطه بكل أنحاء العاصمة. مصر الجديدة مش مجرد حي سكني، لا، ده تاريخ محفوظ في الذاكرة المصرية، تاريخ هيفضل باقي طول ما بنحافظ عليه وبنعيد اكتشافه وتطويره، زي ما طورنا أجمل آثاره التاريخية، قصر البارون إمبان. التحفة المعمارية الأغلى، القصر المهيب اللي تعرض للإهمال على مدى السنين، النهاردة بقى ضرة متوهجة فوق جبين مصر الجديدة. بعد رحلة طويلة من الترميم بدأت عام 2017 على أيدي كوكبة من خيرة المعماريين والأثريين تحت إشراف الهيئة الهندسية للقوات المسلحة. أخيراً بيفتح القصر أبوابه للزوار، وبيكون معرض بيحفظ تراث مصر الجديدة. حركة بنى وعمران في كل مكان على أرض مصر. أيادي التطوير قدرت تحول مطار العاصمة الدولي عشان ياخد مكانته كمطار مدني وعسكري. مطار كبير على مساحة 4 كيلو متر مربع، بيشمل الممر الرئيسي بطول 3650 متر وعرض 60 متر، ده غير 3 ممرات فرعية بطول 400 متر وعرض 24 متر. وبيضم المطار صالتين سفر ووصول وجهازتين بأحدث منظومة للمراقبة والسيطرة الأمنية، ده غير عشرات المباني الإدارية والخدمية ومناطق الأسواق الحرة ومقرات البنوك. العجلة دايرة من شرق القاهرة لغربها، دارت عجلة التطوير بأعلى المعايير العالمية. فتم الانتهاء من تطوير مطار سفنكس عشان يكون مدني وعسكري. المطار على مساحة 1035 فدان، بيضم ممر رئيسي بطول 3650 متر وعرض 60 متر، بخلاف ممرات فرعية بطول 430 متر وعرض 24 متر، وصالة سفر ووصول بتستوعب 300 راكب في الساعة، وقاعة لكبار الزوار، ومبنى رئيسي على مساحة 4750 متر مليان بالمناطق الإدارية والخدمية. صورة مثالية لإنجاز تخيلناه وحلم حققناه. حلم جزء منه اتحقق واحنا في ملحمة التصدي لأزمة كورونا، والإيد اللي حمت صممت وبنت في أيام معدودة مستشفيات القوات المسلحة للعزل، واللي بتضم 4000 سرير والمجهزة بأحدث الأجهزة الطبية وأطقم التمريض لخدمة أهل مصر المحروسة. طورنا وهنفضل نطور ونبني لمصر نهضة تنموية بلمسة جمالية ونقلة حضارية.
السيد الرئيس، السادة الحضور، اهتمام كبير من الدولة بالتنمية العمرانية.
Well, the government, Mr. President, has been giving top priority to urban development. Well, a number of historic quarters and neighborhoods have been undergoing development and refurbished as well. Now the floor is being given to Engineer Dr. Mustafa Madbouli, the Prime Minister of Egypt. The Prime Minister of Egypt, Dr. Mustafa Madbouli, who is himself an engineer, is going to given the floor to address. In the name of God, the Beneficent and Most Merciful, Mr. President, ladies and Your Excellency, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, first of all, let me congratulate the President as well as the entire Egyptian people on the 7th anniversary of June the 30th revolution. It's this revolution which, when breaking out 7 years ago, people took the streets in order to summon and call in the army to save and salvage the country out of the hands of people who had already taken control of the country. Today, will be marking 6 years since President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi came to power. Well, ever since he came to power, he, together at the head of the government, have been working hard around the clock in order to put in action all planned development for Egypt. Well, we have seen ourselves projects cropping up and sprawling everywhere in the country, at every spot in the country. We have seen projects. We have also seen economic reform being introduced in order to redress the course of the Egyptian economy. So far, the Egyptian government, the Egyptian people and the president have demonstrated relentless efforts to cope even with the COVID-19 pandemic. Let me review, together with His Excellency President Fattah el-Sisi and all members of the audience attending on the screen, how the Egyptian government and how we have been planning our course of action in order to improve the quality of Egyptians. All, as you all may all know, all studies on economy Actually, all studies have shown that the economy are going to grow by only 4 or 0.5% across the globe. That's to say, the economy is going to negatively grow. Also, air traffic navigation are going to be adversely impacted. Of course, all of these factors, including the recent COVID-19 pandemic, have been pressuring the economies of the entire globe. So since the very beginning, since the very breaking out of this pandemic, COVID-19, we have been bringing into sharper focus how to keep abreast and how to cope with this pandemic and how to cushion this the adverse effect expected on the economy. Before the corona pandemic breakout, we had reached an economic development rate of higher than expected. We had already accumulated natural monetary reserve unprecedented in the history of Egypt. So, as you may have seen, Egypt's efforts have been, before the corona pandemic, had been going at unprecedented rates of development. Before corona COVID-19, specifically in last January and February, Egypt's economic development rate had edged up to 5.9%, which is, for a country with the economic circumstances of Egypt, had been a great development. So, but owing to the pandemic, which has been sweeping the entire globe, well, rather than growing economically negatively, growing negatively, our economy is going to grow by only 5.7%, rather than the previous rate of 5.9%. Well, actually, most countries of the world are going to grow negatively, will have their economies growing negatively, with the exception of Egypt, which is going to have a negative development of its own economy. So we must have spelled out a vision. We must have envisaged how Egypt is going to go along its course of economic development. Actually, our vision, according to our vision, we must have spotted exactly where Egypt must have been or should be in 10 years' time, including everything, including environmental aspects, social aspects of development. We have had in place a long-term development plan. This plan tells us what to do this year, next year, and the year before, after next, so that our vision would not be adversely impacted by these exceptional circumstances. Today, Egypt has some of its sectors are considered to be promising, to be prospective. So, and we are on top of these fast-growing sectors is the sector of construction, agriculture and industry, as well as trade and supply chains. So of course we have been working on these sectors. We have been working on these sectors not only for this year or next year, but for the forthcoming 10 years. And of course we are not talking about this in words, but we have already launched projects covering all of these sectors. Egypt will be the largest country in Africa and Northern Africa and the Middle East in the sector of construction. Egypt will be boasting the largest segment or the largest portion of construction. And of course, it's the infrastructure, the mega projects are credited for this great stride forward in the sector of construction. However, under these exceptional circumstances, we have had to pump into the veins of the economy exceptional investment in order to keep all these projects going, in order to help curb unemployment, because already before coronavirus we had already reached unprecedentedly low. So as of next year, the Egyptian government is going to inject some like 300 billion Egyptian pounds into the sectors of construction, including electricity, water, sewage, drainage projects. Well, this sum of 300 billion Egyptian pounds to be pumped into these sectors would be raised not only through or from the public budget of the country, but also from the economic authorities, economic organizations as well. These projects have been estimated have been valued at around 19 billion Egyptian dollars by international organizations and international authorities. In the sector of agriculture, well, if we talk about the sector of agriculture, the sector is one of the important sectors. Well, one of the lessons drawn from the pandemic of corona is that the more the country is becoming self-sufficient, the more it will be capable of depending on its own resources rather than importing. That's why President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has always instructed the government in order to be able to be self-sufficient in the sector of farming, rather than importing food or things needed for people's farming drainage would be flown in the past, would be drained into irrigation canals, much to the detriment of the ecological system and the environment. However, we are also planning in this now. This drainage has now stopped, and we are going to reclaim a large area of land, and we are going to develop irrigation systems. And my colleague, the Minister of Irrigation, is going to talk about how irrigation systems have been developed. We are another sector which has also been considered to be promising, which is the communication sector. Communication sector. Actually, the coronavirus has had its own good effects as well as bad effects, because people, since the coronavirus breakout and the social distancing we have had to introduce, have compelled everyone to speed up digitizations of society, because everyone would now depend on modern communication systems and the internet to do business and to communicate with each other. Most probably next year, this sector. The sector of communications, which in the past was left to raise its own resources out of its own activities. Well, this year, the government has allocated millions of Egyptian pounds in order to carry out a number of projects that will help develop the communication system. A new bunch of electronically served services this bunch is going to be offered to the public through an electronic port, and this bunch of services will be available to the general public as of this coming August. A number of so many services will be available as well, will have been available by the end of this year, in order to facilitate and to give the general public unrestricted access to these services. We have been working in order to modernize and upgrade, refurbish all the infrastructure in the sector of communications. Well, if we have already succeeded in remote communication systems, for example, we have already made students and pupils sit for their school and university exams through remotely taking their own exams through the internet. If we have succeeded, and we have actually succeeded to do this, we need to further develop such services, because the internet should be speedier. This is one of the lessons, that the internet should be made all the way speedier and broader in order to carry and tolerate the pressure, the heavier pressures made by the public on them. And in the future, of course, we are going to depend more. I'd like Well, I'd like to put your excellencies in the picture as to the speed of the internet. By the year 2019, in terms of the internet speed, Egypt ranked 40 among Africa. Now, by this last March, Egypt ranked the second in terms of the internet speed. Now, we have been working in order to refurbish and renovate older Cairo. Of course, we have always seen such scenes of congesting traffic as the screen shows here. I'd like to refer you to an important study. This study has been conducted by the Japanese Assistance Agency in the year 2002. The study said that if Cairo does not develop collective transport systems and build new roads and bridges, Cairo traffic will not be able to move forward, and the speed of cars will not be exceeding 2 kilometers per hour, according to the Japanese conducted study. So, So all the work people have seen, you have seen here being done in Cairo, depended heavily on the outcome of the Japanese assistant agency study.
في عام 2002 احنا مش نفذنا ده بس، احنا كمان نفذنا اكبر من كده.
We have already carried out projects called for by this Japanese assistance agency, not only doing these projects, but we have also opened up to other new projects. We have been working, for example, on how to develop collective transport systems. All new cities will be seeing developed collective transport systems, regional ring road, and a number of network linking all international highways, international standard highways and motorways, the underground, the monorail, the electrified train, all these projects which are planned, which are some of them already being worked on, some others are still in the pipeline, are planned in order to carry Egypt forward. And there has been also another project which has been in the pipeline for some time, which is the Grand Museum, to be opened by Your Excellency later on, Your Excellency the President. Of course, Cairo has been undergoing a greater development in terms of developing unsafe and informal settlement regions, which had long sprouted and sprawled on around the edges of Cairo. So we have been working hard in order to bring the image of Cairo into what it has always been, Cairo as a great city. We have already provided housing, we have already housed people, we have already provided 1,000 flats or 1,000 apartments as alternative flats and housing units for people who have been living for long years. The most important project which may be starting on, which is to develop the Khedive of Cairo, the older Cairo built by Khedive Ismail in 18 something. Well, we have been working hard in order to develop and further. Well, this is the picture, the screen, the slide shows how this region looked like. We have been working in order to develop the green areas within this neighborhood, including some of the heritage-linked projects. Well, actually, these images, these pictures show real photos of how these areas had looked like before refurbishment, before renovation, and how they do look like now after being renovated and refurbished. Well, some of these areas will be international standard parks as we see them here and in the picture. Will be boasting very large green area to be breathing space for people. We all remember the fence of Magra al-Ayun, which is literally translated would mean the water course of water, the water course fence, the water course fence, which is a fence at Old Cairo, one of the most important historic areas or neighborhoods of Egypt. This fence would carry water from the Nile along its higher surface, taking this water from the Nile into all areas in need of irrigation and drinking water. It's called in Arabic Magra al-Ayun, or water course fence, because it has, and along this fence there are gates or barrage-like gates which would let out water into the areas in need of such water carried by the fence along its higher surface. We have already started one of the first phase at Eastern Cairo. This is the way we are going to start from Imbaba Bridge or Road al-Farag Bridge, and we have already spelled a vision of how to have a world international walkway, international way for walking for pedestrians along these bridges. Of course, all those photos show the construction work being in progress. This is the image when we first designed this project. Well, one of the important squares is going to be renovated as well to be matching with all similar squares across the world, is at Abdeen Square. How to develop landscape, the green areas, to be also a civilizational facade. This at Tahrir Square, we have been working for in the past few months on developing at Tahrir Square to be a facade for the country, and we are planning to turn some of the Cairo roads and streets into only pedestrian roads. That's to say, barring all car traffic, let them be walked only by pedestrians. One of the most important projects we as a government have been working on is the development of the Maspero triangular region. We have already evacuated some of the buildings, and we have provided them with some alternative housing for those people evacuated, and we'll be working hard on developing this triangular region of Maspero around the television building. This is the way we are envisaging how things will be going on. This is the way we envisage Cairo to be. The Cairo, Khedive Cairo, Tahrir Square, and the development of Maspero triangular region, turning the entire region into a commercial and entertainment region. And this high-rise buildings, as shown here, will be the alternative housing for people who have opted for coming back to their own lifelong region after we have already finished this development. Underground work has already been done, and now we are working above the ground, or on the ground rather than under the ground. All these projects, Your Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, has been a bunch of projects we have already started on. and with your Excellency's support in order to bring to make a good facelift to all the historic Cairo. Your Excellency the President,
منطقة الشرق الأوسط تعتبر من أكثر مناطق العالم ندرة في المياه.
the Middle East region is known for scarcity of water.
لأزمة المياه.
So the government has been planning in order to meet the growing needs of water. So we've started since 2017 to fulfill the needs of water. These mechanism, well, this need has been turned into a mechanism, sustainable mechanism by setting up desalination water, turning or recycling irrigation water into drinkable water. Now we are giving the floor to His Excellency the Minister of Irrigation, who is going to talk to the President and the respectable audience on such a project. In the name of God, the Beneficent and Most Merciful. Congratulations to you, Mr. President, on June the 30th revolution. Would like, before talking about how we have embarked on projects to enhance the efficacy and efficiency of water use, we have to remember all the problems we have had to grapple with in order to save the country from problems at Ras Gharib, for example, on the Red Sea.
دوت بالرغم من زيادة السكان والمتطلبات بتاعت الزيادة ديت من تدبير موارد مائية.
We have had to provide water resources.
مصر أكبر بلد جافة أو أكثر البلاد جفافا في العالم.
Egypt is known to be one of the most hyper arid population, with all or most population being concentrated.
لو أنتجناها في مصر هتحتاج 35 مليار متر مكعب، ولكن ما عندناش موارد مائية كفاية فبنستوردها. We have to work hard in order to provide irrigation water resources for example, cultivating wheat. Otherwise, we'll keep importing such wheat. Egypt is known to be the only African nation to have always recycled water for many uses. So we have to cope with growing needs of water as the population of Egypt is going to increase from 100 million to 160 million. So, and we have also to provide water for growing a larger area of land. We have already embarked on a project in order to improve the quality of water and to rationalize the use of water as well. Well, this strategy has been turned into a national income which spans the year from 2017 to 2037. We're at a cost of more than 100 billion Egyptian dollars, including a program or plan for recycling irrigation drainage water. Farming drainage water will be recycled in order to be reused by farmers and by local residents. We have already completed 2 drainage systems at Al-Mahsama and Bahr al-Baqal drainage systems in order to recycle drainage water. comparing ourselves to countries which have been known to be recycling water, it would be considered to be the second country would be ranking second across the world in recycling water. There have been programs to meet water shortage, rain harvesting. We have also embarked on programs for harvesting rains in order to grow a larger area and to rationalize the use of water. And we have also curbed the growing of water-consuming crops like rice and sugarcane. And one of the important criteria, one of the important standards we depend on to judge and to gauge whether we are developing or not is the number of grievances and complaints received in the area of irrigation. For example, by the year 2016, we received 1,800 grievances, and by the year 2020, the number has drastically dropped to less than 1,000 grievances. So by the year 2030, we will have already, we shall have desalinated a very large amount of seawaters to the tune of 7 billion cubic meters. Harvesting water. For harvesting rainwaters, we have already set up stations in Upper Egypt as well as in Sinai. Actually, for harvesting these stations for harvesting water have already harvested a large torrential rains, which would have otherwise destroyed large swaths of the country. Now we have managed successfully to harvest these large amounts of rain waters. I remember Your Excellency giving us instructions as you opened Al-Mahsama, the recycling station, to complete work. And we have, as you instructed, Your Excellency instructed, we have already completed all work at Al-Mahsama recycling station. The other program, in collaboration by my Ministry of Irrigation, together with some other ministries, we've managed to engage farmers, to bring more farmers to take part in this program at a cost of no less than 60 billion Egyptian pounds. Bahr al-Baqar at al-Sharqiyya. There will be 2 pumping stations along the drainage from the recycling.
المشاريع المحسمة سرابيوم بحر البقر دي منظومة متكاملة بنوصلها ببعضيها علشان
Our work has been done in an integrated manner. Diverse ministries have been collaborating with each other. I'm going to stop here. I'd like at the close of my talk, to thank you. Now we have been working hard, we've managed to turn the crisis into an opportunity, to capitalize on this crisis, to make an opportunity out of it. Rationalization does not necessarily mean banning the use of available resources, but rather using such resources to the best way possible. And a very good example of this has been what has been done by the Ministry of Agriculture. Now the floor, ladies and gentlemen, is being given to His Excellency, the Minister of Agriculture. He's going to talk about his minister's planned development. In the name of God, the Beneficent and Most Merciful, Your Excellency, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, on my behalf and on behalf of all Egyptian peasants, farmers, let me, on behalf of them all, extend my congratulations to Your Excellency's revolution. The revolution is spearheaded by Your Excellency, because over the past 6 years since you led this revolution, Egypt has seen greater development, greater development of the area in the sector of agriculture. Balanced development of the area of farming has been done. We've managed to grow, cultivate larger additional areas, depending on harvested rainwaters, which would have otherwise been lost, would have been of no avail. We have already added a larger area of growing, and of course these newly grown areas have also necessitated the building of new roads leading to them, as well as the necessary infrastructure. Our planned development has had in sight integrated development across the country. Over the past period, sustainable agricultural development has always depended on raising the efficiency of water units. We have been in pursuit of diverse water resources, as well as horizontal expansion of cultivated areas, particularly at Toshka in southern Upper Egypt and Sinai, as well as vertical, as well as developing farming vertically by inventing or by introducing new strains of crops which need less water, and some other varieties of crops that will need less water and can at the same time cope with climate changes. We have also been expanding greenhouse farming as well. Of course, this has led to bumper harvests of strategic crops like maize, wheat, as well as cereals, helping the Egyptian people prosper and thrive. Your Excellency, the President, Your Excellency's interest in horizontally growing has also including the expansion horizontally, as well as rationalizing the use of water. Actually, we have had to expand farming vertically because we couldn't have expanded horizontally at all the areas, all the cultivated areas. And one of the problems we have, one of the challenges we have had to face, is to find more water resources. The cultivable land has remained unchanged over decades. So we have had to figure out new areas, to think and to try to find new areas for cultivating. We have had one of the challenging is the lack of infrastructure. For example, the lack of infrastructure has been one of the challenges, one of the hurdles we have had to tackle in order to expand vertically, to expand horizontally, because new areas need new roads to give people unrestricted access to these new areas. We needed infrastructure, and you've kindly instructed the government to build such new roads, to build such power grids needed by such new areas of cultivable land. The development of northern and central Sinai Peninsula has been also a priority development plan by our government. The two recycling water stations from at Sarabium near Ismailia, Suez Canal Governorate, and Al-Mahsama near Ismailia as well, have been pumping large amounts of recycled drainage water into Sinai to the tune of 100 million cubic meters every day. This water already pumped into northern and central Sinai by Sarabium and Al-Mahsama recycling drainage systems have helped grow larger areas in central and northern Sinai. And then your President has instructed us, Your Excellency has instructed us to take inventory, to take urgently take inventory of all cultivable land in Sinai. And His Excellency, the Prime Minister, has been also following up on your instructions, and a committee of university professors and farming experts have been working hard in order to find what sort of varieties that already can be grown. At Al-Gifgafa area in Sinai, the study has shown that there has been a large area that can be cultivated. These are the initial estimates and the initial findings of the study. This inventory already taken upon Your Excellency's orders targeted an area of 592,000 fedans. However, the area expanded to include 600,000 fedans. That's to say, 600,000 fedans have been targeted by this panel of experts who have taken inventory, taken stock of this land, and to see how cultivable this land can be. Well, this stock taking of land was done last May and June. Well, this has shown the area was shown to be around 464,000 fedans in northern and central Sinai, with already 128,000 fedans already grown, according to the table. Around the axis of Al-Ghafa. So the entire cultivable area in central about 850,000 fedans. Well, you have said, Your Excellency said, according to the table shown to Your Excellency, shows the additional 50,000, the additional area of 50,000 fedans, which would be irrigated by recycled water produced by Al-Mahsama drainage recycling system or drainage recycling station. Well, sugar crops, oil crops, sugar, oil, fodder, as well as aromatic and medical herbs will be are proven to be fit for growing at this area of Sinai, according to the findings of the study. The study has been done by the Ministry of Agriculture together with, in collaboration with the university farming colleges. When this report was submitted to His Excellency the Prime Minister, priorities have been straightened out to give priorities to such varieties, and in order to find out alternatives for implementing such projects. This has actually been a shortened analysis of water use. Your Excellency, President Fattah al-Sisi, as we go on fighting terror, development has been going in a parallel line together with the fighting terror, with the determination of all our people. Long live Egypt. Tourism and antiquities. Tourism and antiquities, ancient antiquities, have been two important hard currency earners for the Egyptian government. And at Heliopolis, there has always been Baron Impan's palace, built by Baron Impan, the Belgian entrepreneur and businessman who came to Egypt at the turn of the century to build this Heliopolis neighborhood. And of course built this palace in the name of God, the Beneficent and Most Merciful. Now the floor is being given to His Excellency the Minister of Antiquities. Today's ceremonial opening of Baron Impan's palace at Heliopolis is considered to be a historic event. It means that Egypt has been looking forward, has had its own vision of developing the country. Today, the opening of Baron Impan's palace at Heliopolis marks the celebration of the building of such a beautiful neighborhood to the east of Cairo. And today we are opening two important airports which should be carrying tourist arrival forward. And it also shows that we are keenly interested in preserving our antiquities and our ancient heritage of antiquities. Allow me, Your Excellency, to update Your Excellency on the progress made by projects to develop antiquities, which are going to be opened in the very near future. Talking about Egyptian ancient antiquities, we have to talk about the Grand Museum to be opened soon, which would have been opened, but the opening has been delayed owing to the coronavirus. Before, there has been much talk about the opening of such the need to set up such a museum before the year 2016. By the 2016, we had already completed only 17% of the project. Now, the completion rate of the Grand Museum construction is far beyond 90%. That is to say, more than 90% of the construction work of the Grand Museum has already been done, and of course, the Grand Museum will be open to the world at the Grand Gala Museum in the year 2021. These are some of the images which show the area, the large area on which the very large area on which the museum has been built. It's about 970,000 square meters. Well, actually, the glass structure light is beamed, colored light is beamed into this glass structure to be a marvelous panorama at night. 90% of the solar boat, of the ancient solar boat, has already been carried, has been transported to the new museum. This is the obelisk which stood at San al-Hagar at Sharqiya Governorate, has already been transported. This image is not an imagery, it's not the steps. These steps lead to a great panorama overlooking the plateau of the three pyramids at Giza, have already been built. Well, actually, most of the showcases at the showcasing hall have already been completed. More than 80% of the showcases have been complete. Let me review with Your Excellency some of the antiquity. I would like to show Your President, Your Excellency, how how terrorism had targeted the ancient antiquities of Egypt before the year 2013. Well, actually, we have seen that the facade of the Islamic Museum had been damaged, and how 3 years later it had been renovated and refurbished and developed, and Your Excellency opened it. The Egyptian Museum, National Museum for Egyptian Civilization. In March 2018, you, by video conference, Your Excellency opened a museum at Zagazi, which is the capital of Sharqiya Governorate. Your Excellency kindly went toward Suhag in Upper Egypt, one of the most important Upper Egypt governorates, and opened the Suhag National Museum, which showcases, has on display some important, very important pharaonic pieces. San al-Hagar and everywhere else in ancient Egypt, obelisks have been strewn carelessly and negligently strewn across the place. We have already transported some of the important obelisks, some of the important pharaonic needles or obelisks have been erected once more at the new museum or at the important capitals where they were standing or carelessly thrown. One of the important social pyramids, stepped pyramid, have been the renovated Zosa pyramid, step pyramid has been opened. We have already opened to the public antiquity mosques, ancient mosques to the public, to the general public. They belong to to Egypt Islamic era. As well, monasteries, abbeys and monasteries have also had their own shares of being opened. But in my opinion, the most important opening of Christian antiquities was the opening in the year 2014 of the Christian hanging church in October, which was open to the public in October 2014. Then we went to the Coptic church in order to congratulate our Coptic Christian people, congratulating them on Christmas. No country, Mr. President, no country of the world could have opened three important monuments, one for Muslims, one for Christians, and a synagogue for Jews, all at the same time. So, and within the next days, we are going to open to make some more ceremonial openings. At Al-Haram, we are going to open in the first restaurant within Al-Haram Plateau, on the Pyramid Plateau. Well, according to your standing instructions, that the area around the Grand Museum should be taken care of. That's why you will find, when by the time we come to ceremonially opening the Grand Museum, you'll find a large area. 22 royal mummies of pharaonic of pharaohs will be moving at the opening ceremony of the new museum, will be moving along Cairo on royal chariots, in a very important cavalcade. The cavalcade will be carried on such vehicles shown on these screen. Well, university students have drawn by themselves ancient Egyptian pharaonic engravings on these vehicles, which are scheduled to carry such royal mummies. A broken obelisk has been restored, and four rams have been moved from Luxor's Karnak Rams Avenue to be erected at the Tahrir Square as part of the development of Tahrir Central Cairo Square. Within the royal carriage of the royal family, which ruled Egypt until the 1952 revolution, is going to be set up as part of the Maspero region around the television building. It has on display all the royal carriages, all the royal horse-drawn carriages, which used to be ridden by members of the royal family. Why did we choose this region? In Shams region has also been selected to undergo development. These are some of the images of Baron Impin's palace. But after the death of Baron Impin and after the departure of his family, all the personal effects within the palace have been sold. We have retrieved the palace from the people who had already bought the palace after the family of the Baron had already left, and we started to restore, in collaboration with the engineering authority of the armed forces. We started to restore and make good again and put in good repair. And they have been, I have to admit that they have been doing a lot of efforts in order to restore even the original colors which used to paint. We have already set up the ancient fence, for example, antiquity fence of the Baron in Pan according to the plan, the original plan of the palace, in order to bring to life all the original structure and original colors which used to be there on the palace.
الحيطان كلها كان عليها رشين عليها، وكان فاكرين طبعا حضرتك اللي كان بيحصل في الألفينات في القصر ده، أصبح النهارده فعلا.
The palace has become a unique piece of art. The staircase has now been developed as shown here. Actually, it has been raining throughout when it rained throughout the past decades. Rain damaged most walls and most ceilings of the palace. All these ceilings and walls have been restored, put back to good order. We have even got ancient vintage cars, put them in display to put people in the picture of an ancient place, and we have even got a tramway within the front yard of the palace, to give people the impression that they have gone back in time by a whole century. They have gone back 100 years back, when the tramway was first introduced by Baron in Pan. The Baron in Pan Palace would be lit at night, according to the presidential instructions, would be lit up like this at night, to be a unique piece of art. Of course, we managed to build a good infrastructure of antiquity maintenance in order to attract more tourist arrivals, in collaboration with all relevant ministries like the Ministry of Tourism, the Ministry of Health. And we have already introduced certificates for people who are going to work in the antiquities. We have been disinfecting and sanitizing the place, all tourist destinations for the past 2 months. And this sanitization has been testified and has been approved by the Ministry of Health, in order to show everyone that we are keenly interested in maintaining their own health. We have already lent unprecedented support to the sector of tourism. We have received unprecedented support, financial support, from the Ministry of Finance. We have already introduced discount landing fees for planes, so that in order to show the entire world that we have already introduced very serious restrictions. We have already introduced the standards for sanitizing and disinfecting luggage, hotel rooms, and everything. All our restrictions have been to a T, and everyone has approved them. Diving, scuba diving, how to disinfect and sanitize scuba diving apparatus, gear, all scuba diving gear. Thank you very much to Your Excellency for supporting tourism and antiquities sector. With the decision to coexist with the coronavirus, the Ministry of Aviation has already introduced some measures. Now the floor is being given to His Excellency Pilot Muhammad Manar Ainaba, the Minister of Civil Aviation. Now the floor, ladies and gentlemen, is being given to His Excellency Pilot Muhammad Manar Ainaba, the Minister of Aviation, of Civil Aviation. In the name of God, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, Your Excellency President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, the President and Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, On my behalf and on behalf of my ministry, let me congratulate Your Excellency on the 7th anniversary of revolution. And let me also express our deep heartfelt gratitude to Your Excellency for your relentless support to the tourism, to the civil aviation sector. Let me also thank the meteorological department and all other relevant departments, because they have helped us raise alert for receiving air traffic. Egypt has been one of the earliest countries to tackle arrivals from China, the origin of the when the pandemic first broke out. The Prime Minister, under the chairmanship of His Excellency the Prime Minister, another committee has been formed in order to bring back, to repatriate hundreds of people who had been stranded when the pandemic first broke out. The Ministry of Civil Aviation has also taken some of precautionary measures on the level of Egyptian airports nationwide, dotted nationwide. Some social distancing as recommended. Social distancing had been followed at all airports. Filters has been made available on planes according to the international standards. And with the Ministry of Aviation eagerly interested in to observe social distancing, Egypt Air Hospital, together with a another privately owned hospital, will be taking care of quarantining people, providing quarantine if should somebody test positive for the virus. Well, the Egyptian, as part of the mega projects, we're going to ceremonially witness the opening of two important projects. That's to say, the opening, we're going today to through a video conference to open the Sphinx as well as the new airport of the administrative capital. So the two airports, ladies and gentlemen, are going to be declared open. Sphinx Airport, which is situated to the west of Cairo, as well as the administrative the capital airport further to the east of Cairo International Airport. Sphinx Airport is situated at the 45th kilometer along the Egyptian along the Cairo Alexandria Airport. Each of these two airports is built on an area of approximately 4,000 square meters. It has 4 counters for checking travelers' documents. It has departure and arrival lounges, and a mosque, an area for praying, and as well as an area for receiving representatives of travel agents. Free market as well as cafeterias have also been provided. According to international security standards, these airports have been equipped with the state-of-the-art cameras, as well as explosive detecting gadgets. X-ray equipment for searching luggage have been provided. FIDF screens for sharing information, flight information, have also been set up and dotted across each of the two airports. A large area of parking area which accommodated 400 cars have been provided at each of these two airports. Every airport has a mosque at each airport, which accommodates 450 worshippers. There has been a length of 26 kilometers of runways. Landscape, the airport and landscape cover the entire area of 21,000 square meters. A power station and water tank have been set up at each of the two airports. Administrative personnel buildings have also been built. In addition to the 42 service or personnel service buildings, there is also a power station at each of these two airports. A new flight runway at the length of 3,650 meters has been set up, has been built at the width of 60 meters in order to accommodate wider airliners. Automatic approach systems have been introduced as well. Towers in order to manage the air traffic. We are expecting Your Excellency to kindly pilot Mohammed Al-Gamal and the captain from the armed forces already supervised the construction of the airport, are going to declare open, to unveil a plaque showing the opening of the airport of the new administrative capital. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, ladies and gentlemen, is declaring open through video conference the opening of the new capital. Through video conference. The airport, as we see, is declared open. The administrative capital airport is declared open, ceremonially declared open by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. Any orders? The opening of Sphinx Airport to the west. Pilot Osama Muhammad Al-Abbasi and a captain from the armed forces, who is the supervisor of the project, are going to declare to jointly open the Sphinx Airport to the west of Cairo along the Cairo-Alexandria Desert Highway. Another airport to the west of Cairo, which serves the area of the pyramids and the western region of Cairo near the 6th of October city. Any orders? Your Excellency. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. Now the two airports have been declared open. With your permission, Mr. President, we are going to have a break for 30 minutes. Your Excellency, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, after which we resume our activities.
يا أم الدنيا من قدك يحبك كل من شافك.
السيد الرئيس.
Your Excellency, distinguished guests, the armed forces, with its great efforts and achievements, with unprecedentedly revenues and in a very critical times. The engineering authority comes with the execution of the vast national projects that help in certain the high traffic cognition and the development departments, along with all of the state bodies. Now with the speech of the head of the engineering department of the armed forces. In the name of Allah, the Almighty, Your Excellency, President Al-Fatah El-Sisi, the President of the State and the Chief of Commander of the Armed Forces, the distinguished guest, allow me, Your Excellency, to express today with the all Egyptian people with the great and sincere congratulations for the 30th of June commemorative that has witnessed the gathering of all of the Egyptian people and the revival of their will against the extremism and terrorism. Such revolution that has come to put in place the infrastructure of the state and to have the reinforcement of all of its bodies and to resume its stability, going towards the construction and the national development establishments for having a new modern Egypt. Along with the guidelines of Your Excellency, since you've got in position, we have got into the penetration of all of the development sectors. As we have received from Your Excellency to all of the national bodies to conduct more than 20 national projects in all fields with more than 4.5 million pounds. Also, your comments has been sent to the engineering authority to conduct 2,200 projects with 1.1 billion Egyptian pounds, along with the participation of 1,420 national companies and more than 900 personnel and workers. Within the national framework vision for the for Egypt Vision 2050, which comes at the top of the priority of increasing the urban area from 7% to 14%. As currently we have around 14 cities of the fourth generation have been implemented, in addition to also construction of more than 500,000 of residential units, in addition to the development of the arbitrary areas. Also, we've got your comments to implement the national network with 8,200 kilometers on 3 different phases with 165 million pounds. Also, we have got lots of main traffic and main roads being added to facilitate the cognition, and we have doubled the amount of the bridges and the connection between Sinai and Suez Canal, in addition to new traffic axes, and to develop the different roads and main roads to decrease the time and the cognition, which help in also decreasing the financial defects, which is around 175 million pounds, 84 million of which due to the long time of the journeys, and the rest for the excessive usage of fuel, and 67 million pounds for the incidents on the roads. The capital Cairo has around 50 billion pounds has been expensed by the state and also the people. Throughout our planning has been allow me please just to get back to the previous image. Yes. I just want to inform you. I just wanted to shed light on this image and maybe think more in it. Such image that symbolizes lots of roads of Cairo and Alexandria and other provinces. Just during the past break, I just was having a word with my colleagues, and I said that hasn't any of you, whether governor or ruler or even dedicated minister, have ever thought and to say that, Your Excellency, just let's not to even build more in such provinces, and at least to just to decrease the heights of those buildings to maybe like half of it. Well, so this is exactly how it is. This is Abbasiyya, this is Nasri, this is Heliopolis issues. Also Matariyya, Waili, Hilmiya, Bahtin, and all of the other suburbs and provinces. What exactly you were waiting for? You Egyptian officials, what exactly you've been waiting for? Don't you think that the solution is just to say and put sort of questions why the traffic is not sorted? The thing is, we're just usually have an open discussion to have better understanding and to understand the deep issues of our Egyptian traffic issues. How can we even organize the traffic issues? How can we do it? I swear to God that it can never be organized. I just say this here because 6 years ago, when I said that we will build a new Egypt together, and I meant by this that we all will be alert and we work together to sort the issues. I would just have a word with Dr. Mustafa, and I was saying that in Marataya and maybe other also suburbs in Giza, to facilitate the passengers' movements, let me just say that when I say that I found no one to have empathy or sympathy, I didn't mean by this just to have empathy feelings. I meant that to have practical areas that help people to have safe passengers. What Ihab had just said, that we're talking around in about 175 billion Egyptian pounds a year. Just let's keep it just 100 or even 50 only. Because if we will expense just to raise the capacity of the road networks for like 200 or 250 billion pounds, this means that we can have even the reimbursement of those charges within 2 or 3 years. I just wanted to shed light on this, just to understand and to let people understand that we are never against your interests. We just try to have a link between your personal interest and also the state public interest, the public interest of the Egyptian people. When we talk about the Eastern Cairo, we're talking about like 200, maybe 250 billion pounds. Am I right, Ihab? Yes, if you can just state the figures. So, when we expand the road from like 3 years, we will find that within just 2 years, we would need to have doubling the expansion. That's due to the excessive movement, cognition, and be aware that wherever you just have a new building in any site, and let me say, I'm not just gonna even handle the parking area. Let's just talk about how the even residents will be able to walk. And that's why since 2002, with all the due respect for the previous officials and not anyone else, I am not talking about the people whom I observe. Let me just say that none on earth is aware of everything on the ground apart from the one who is inside that cycle, if we're talking about ministers or officials. But the upper hand should not be usually aware of everything in place. So I am just not saying this to provoke anyone. This is not my nature at all. So since 2010, and you were thinking about 2020, how Cairo would have no movement, and you will have a very long, a very big parking. What you have done in return? Have you stopped the construction in Cairo? No, you rather just left people continue their buildings And he said that such streets will be compatible to the laws and rules. But when you say that this is maybe not just understood by everyone listening to me now, even the simple Egyptian people, I just wanted to advise the value and the volume of the endeavors that we exerted to have such transformation. Today we will have some of the past 5 months that have been conducted. But again, let me say that we are working in the same exact regards for like 5 or 6 years. Suez road with just 2 lanes, bi-directional, and I can remember vividly that such a road was having stop condition in Al-Maza, and we were having very long queue in the National Security Department, maybe towards Rubeki, something like that. However, today this is no longer existent, despite the fact that we have got excessive increase in the vehicles. However, now you have 9 lanes on the left and the right directions, bi-directional in those 40 kilometers. So how much does that cost us? So for me, as an official, and my colleague, Dr. Mustafa, and the concerned ministers, doesn't this mean that we were taking care of you when we planned this? So this is exactly what I meant when I was saying that we have no empathy towards you. So this is exactly the empathy that we meant, that we try to sort out the issues and the problems to facilitate your life. If you think that I just meant by this to have good feelings, so this is just not what it is. What we mean by this is to track your problems and to find solutions. Again, I was having a word with Dr. Mustafa and I asked them, what about integrating the axis of Giza province? So he said that in just 1 kilo to be opened, this will cost me 1 million Egyptian pounds. So if I'm talking about like 7-8 kilometers, this means that I will have reimbursement of around 8 million Egyptian pounds, because we won't ask people to just stay at home and not move. So this is one of the procedures that we should conduct, that we just get people removed from such areas and we seek compensation for them and put them into safer places. So again, I reiterate that because lots of us maybe just find that we have some weird decisions. So you may think that this is not fair to you, but we will take all what we will do all what it takes in all of the related decisions to make sure that we have the fair and just decisions. Again, I am not just tackling the roads and traffic, but let me confirm that this is applicable on all of the country sectors. So we have worked in the same exact efforts and cost the same exact thing that we have done for the national road, for example, like in engineering sector, and this costed it cost around 660 million pounds, just to make sure that it will be compatible with the future of the Egyptian people. 600 billion pounds, and still counting. Same thing also we do in the agricultural sector. So do not just think that it's all about the road that you walk in. You have never got to understand the kind and the type of efforts that we exert on any lakes or in any stations that serve you, or in any sanitation water or any health sector. You will never find or feel the exact efforts that we conducted unless you use the service, but others maybe you won't be able to understand it. So again, when we look at the expenses for our expenditures, we will find that we even expended more. I just want to advise officials that do not think that you will be able to get your work done unless you have ongoing vision and thinking and tracking to the issues. This is one point. The second thing I want to mention, for example, if we talk about a Rubeki project, for the latter city. When I have received a news that we have got some people doing some trespass activities. Why do you such things? Because this is our assets. We need to keep it at its upmarket. And if you would like us to help you, we won't refuse. So I think that maybe anyone in position should be alert and should be able to convey to us the exact needs of the residents, and then we can take it further. And again, otherwise any sort of trespass, it has to be removed immediately. I said it before and I will keep repeating that every now and then. We will never get back to what we were before. Chaos and all of the previous stages that we have and all of the efforts that we exerted to combat all of the chaos we found, we will never get back to this. This is not acceptable anymore. This is our country, and you said at the very beginning that you are with me and you will help me, so I need all of you to do the right things. So I just wanted to put the spotlight on such image for lots of Cairo streets that we have known and what we have done towards it. Nothing. However, today in the presentation that I've reviewed with Dr. Ihab a few days ago, you will find what we have conducted in Makram Abeid, Nasiri, and General Ahmed Fakhri. Am I right? Yes. Zakir Hussein. We're talking about around 28 kilometers that we will use from the greeneries in those areas. Maybe 25 years ago, we were not in need to do this. If you were just applying and committing to the planning authority that you should have just 3 or 4 floors. Now we have 13 floors, and even the parking that nowadays has been unusable, and we have the vehicles parked in the street, and this may cause bottlenecks to the cognition, which allows only just one vehicle to be there. So I have a proposal that we maybe just have a part of the greeneries to facilitate the movement of the passengers. We're talking about the streets, we're not even talking about bridges. We're talking around 500 to 600 million pounds. So are you satisfied with the 14 floors that you have, and you're not taking into consideration the risks that you cause to your country? I'm not saying this to have any negative feelings. I just wanted to assure you that we still work and we will have even better results, and make sure that I will never let it down. I won't leave anything not in place. Everything will be put back in its right order, just like all of the other countries, due to the respect and the love I have to my country and to my people. Egypt will get back to its position as it was. Well, so Your Excellency, just allow me that the works have been done in the Eastern Cairo has been done into 3 phases. The first phase, when we conducted, we were having 2 sections. The first one was 7 billion pounds, and the second one was 5 million pounds in Mataria, and also the part that we will integrate today with Your Excellency. This is the first phase. The second phase that we are still working on in Nasr City, which costed us around 600 million pounds, in addition to a third phase where we will have integration for Ibrahim Arabi X's and other also X's that we will present to you now. This is around 4.5 million pounds. This is the total executed and which is in progress. Well, so when I said 20 to 22 million pounds, I was accurate. Yes. Well, so our vision in the designing and in the structure and to have development for Cairo road network was to have free access for the transportation towards all of the country corners. And that's why we found it was necessary to have the Eastern Cairo to be at the top of our priorities in the first phase, because the road's capacity was decreased within the internal road network that was not developed for ages, and also in light of the excessive traffic movement. So the average of the traffic in some of the axes was like 7,000 vehicles in an hour, and in rush hours was reaching 12,000 vehicles in an hour. And upon your guidelines to have a solution for all of the bottlenecks to be executed in different phases to facilitate Cairo residents, we have developed an increased capacity of the main 6 axes and to make use of the from the middle and the metro lines with around 2 kilometers, and to execute additional 4E industrial workshops to have a solution for all of the access. So, Your Excellency, we will tackle operations. The first axis was a Nuzha axis, Al-Marghani, Khalifa Al-Ma'moon. This axis, Your Excellency, used to link Ismailia Road, Qasr Suez, Midan Al-Hijaz, and then Al-Nuzha Street, going along Al-Marghani Street, and it's continual to Roxy, and after that it reaches to Ramses, or maybe otherwise goes to South Cairo. Such road we executed with 5 industrial workers. This is the actual figure of the roads in place. As you can see, we have 35 width, and we have decreased the middle island. So we have 5 lanes in bi-directional. Maybe beforehand it was just 3 lanes. The following. The 4 bridges that we conducted, in addition to also another one that was expanded. So those bridges in turn, the Al-Hijaz bridge, which is had 3 lanes and width is 26 meters, and approximately all of the bridges that we conducted in Heliopolis have 26 width with 3 different lanes bi-directional. Also, Al-Gala Bridge has, as you know, that in Salah Salim Road was having a very excessive traffic that we thought more than once, because this specific area, as you know, was having lots of facilities. However, Allah has helped us in having the proper design, and let me just confirm that the space between each column is around 65 meters, and this already being executed. And let me say that the length of this bridge is 800 kilometers, starting from Turianf Square up to Nuzha, with also 26 width. We have, just please get back to the previous. I just want to remind all of our Egyptian people that the bridge underneath was just having 2 lanes in bi-directional. This was like 3 or 4 years ago. Why I wanted to say this? Because now we're having 4 lanes. When we have made this expansion to solve the issues for the movement to the airport and way back. So, be aware of what's being conducted and what's in progress, because in order to solve this situation, it was not just to solve the bridge, the upper bridge, but we also worked on the underneath bridge. We have done all of the expansions to have all of the lanes, to have the expansion towards the airport, and to do the same thing in the way back towards Heliopolis. So again, I reiterate this. Excuse me, I meant to Al Abbasiyya direction. And then we have even worked on the upper bridge. maybe now we'll have Ihab talking about another different bridge. But again, I wanted to stop here and let people understand and visualize the excessive cost that we have expended. If we haven't done this into the underneath bridge and the upper one, what do you think the situation would have been otherwise? Well, Your Excellency, such bridge has held in the bottleneck for 3 main roads: Shara al-Nuzha, Abu Bakr Siddiq Street, and also Salah Salim Road. Those 3 different axes we usually have got to have for like 10 to 12 minutes bottleneck in order to overcome this area. Now we have Al-Gala Bridge, and then Sab'a Amarat Bridge, which is also having 3 lanes with 26 kilometers width, and it's linking from Al-Marghani Road, and it helps with the cognitive issue from Al-Nuzha underneath the bridge, and also Al-Marghani suburb and Omar Khattab district. Again, 3 main roads in 3 main streets. The length is 650 meters. Also, we were having this bridge, which was the Marghani Bridge, and previously it was having the metro available there, and when we just stopped the metro service there, we were having like 8 meters were just unusable. So we have got the designs compatible, and we got the cooperation of the urban communities and Ministry of Housing, and we have reviewed all of designing, and we found that we have the possibility to have the expansion, and even the capacity was able to help this done, and we have taken the lane in one direction and another lane for the other one. So the total length is 26 kilometers with 3 lanes bi-directional. Al-Aruba Bridge, and maybe when we started working on this and we reviewed this to you, we started to work on the bridge firstly, and people were just asking, why do you do such bridge? And we kept saying, just wait for the answer, just wait after the feast, we will let you know. And this bridge was just contradicting with Salah Salim Road, and again it has 3 lanes from El-Marghani till Roxy. The length is 590 meters with 21 kilometers width. The other direction, Salah Salim, which was the main issue, and this was the main issue to work on, maybe before the feast, and maybe when Your Excellency asked me how this tunnel will be able to go and get back, and how we'll be able to just to conclude it, and how long will it take from you. At the beginning we asked you that we will conclude it in just 21 days, but Your Excellency said that you do not want to cause any additional traffic issues, and you asked us to get it done within the feast holiday. And thank God, this is the tunnel. As you know, Your Excellency, it used to have lots of bottlenecks, congestion, and it was having 2 lanes. We were having from Salah Salim Road from like 400 for like 4 or 5 lanes just to come to this bridge into just 2 lanes, whether from airport to Absaya or vice versa. So to be able to abide by your guidelines, it took us 10 days to work on the materials that we used, whether the concrete or the cement or all of the equipment necessary for the operation. We made it available, and once we've got the order to start, we have almost 30 cranes. We've been able to work on all of the buildings and the columns and the solids, and even all of the forcing. We've been able to remove them all, and when we have come to work on the salvation of the soil, we've been conducting this through the international standardized methods, and we're having 3 different quality officers and even monitoring and supervision just to make sure that all of the operations are done well. So it took us around 24 hours to work on that. We improved the soil, and thanking God, just within 6 days we have made it all possible, and we had even just one final day to make this the service structure. And on Sunday, which was the start of the business days, we were all in place. Let me say that we have used 100,000 cubic meters of dust, and all of the buildings on the construction rivers were being removed. The other direction, which was towards Ramses, this also have got a great effort and endeavors being conducted, because again this one links for the movement from Ismailia along with Qasr Suez, and then we actually utilized the old metro line and we altered it to a road. And here we faced a very huge problem, which was the minor water. Approximately 4 years ago, the minor water was there, and we used to suffer. All of the units in this area, we used to suffer from the existence of the minor water. So we reviewed the designs also with expertise, and we have come up with a new design with 2 pipes linked with Jukistan. And I just want to say that the volume of the water here in the sanitation, it's around from 15 to 25 thousand cubic meters. The one pipe was around just to have this exact volume, but we just wanted to add additional line to make sure that we can have the capacity for 35,000 cubic meters. And we now can have the recognition of all those waters with turbines, and the control room can just collect all of this and just put it into the public sanitation. And thanking God, all of the buildings and residents in the same area have got no more issues in that regards. And also, we've been able to have a 4 kilometers road in continuation for the road existing from the beginning of Roxy, just to make sure that whoever coming from Ismailia, Qasr Suez, can get to that road in the direction of Ramses without having to pass the Khalifa Ma'mun. So in this way we can have balance, and we have limited recognition and work within balance. Meanwhile, we also developed the Khalifa Ma'mun road. We developed Sail Street, which used to be that bi-directional. We just made it unidirectional, and just to make sure that this area should be having ring traffic, just to avoid any interruptions. And we also stopped the movement from Khalifa Ma'mun towards Al-Hijaz to have a facilitation direction, and also in the same thing for the people coming from Al-Marghani. So to have much more balanced traffic with very wide road, which is now 7 lanes. And it used to be 3 lanes before. Also, we increased the capacity for this street, which was in parallel to metro line, and this was like between a metro and the buildings. We increased it to be 5 lanes, and this also facilitated the passengers and pedestrian crossing. The following bridge is Bakr Siddiq axis, which is a very huge axis, and we have got vast challenges to get it conducted. It's 18 kilometers axis. If we talk about the movement here and the traffic, it's starting from Suez till Tahya, Masr. It's 18 kilometers. It's 18 kilometers. God willing, today, if we're talking about the speed, if it's a higher, could be taken into just a few minutes, and this would be just taken 15 minutes for the movement. Such access, it's starting from Hussein Kamel Street, which is adjacent to Al-Maza Airport, going along Abu Bakr Siddiq Street, and it's going under the bridge of Hilmiya and then gets up to Shara ibn al-Hakam bridge. Afterwards, gets to the Ahmed Zatoun bridge, which is above metro line, and then to Matariya Square. And this area specifically was having lots of challenges. Firstly, the designing had to be new. Let me say that maybe the engineering authority has made it more than once, but again, we consider it a very huge issue because it takes us till Tahya Masr axis and also till Shubra Banha, which are very vital axes. Thanking God, we have conducted the first one, which leads to Tahya Masr, and in continuing to Medan Matariya, and then we comes to bridge Medan Amariya, and then we get to Tahya Masr bridge and the Tahya Masr road, and then we can go to either 6 October City, or rather we go to the Desert Road, and this being 100% completed. Also, this bridge was having very huge facilities, and maybe I have presented that to Your Excellency before, and let me say that this needed to have excessive studies. After that, we still continued. As you can see here, Your Excellency, just please go to the following. Abu Bakr Siddiq Street. It's also one of the streets that being developed in the first phase, and we have executed 2 bridges. Ibn al-Hakam Street, which is a continuation for the axis. We continue with the streets. Also Al-Kablat Street. Also Ismailia Lake Street. So the bridges that we have implemented on this axis, there are 8 bridges. Ibn al-Hakam Bridge or Al-Maza Bridge at the beginning, which was just one direction to also solve the traffic issue between Hussein Kamel and Nuzha, just to avoid any stops or pauses, and also Medan Safir Bridge. And here we have here interaction between Abu Bakr Siddiq and also Al-Muhkama Bridge. All of those bridges, they have 3 lanes, and the length is different due to the vision of the design of the bridges. Also, as you can see here, Abu Bakr Siddiq and Al-Hijaz and Medan ibn al-Hakam Bridge. This bridge also has the Shara ibn al-Zahra and Ibn al-Hakam junction, and also Al-Hilmiya Bridge, as I told you before, which is going above the metro line. So we have just stopped the direction in that direction, and this also the building that we have removed because it was not helping the bridge, just to help us to have not just 3 lanes instead of 2. Yeah, I just want to mention in this specific building, not just about the design, but also we're talking about the direction, the value of the movement and traffic, because as you know, this is very cognitive area with residents. So I need you all to take a look on that building, on that block. Those people, where they should live and how should they move, and if they have vehicles and cars, where they should park them, who has provided such licenses, who has provided such permission to the builder. So now if we are talking about corruption, it's not about corruption at all. It's about the people are uneducated, people are unaware of their identity. I'm talking about all people, and excuse me if I'm saying this, whether we're talking about the ruler or the governor. I'm not just talking about Cairo, I'm I'm speaking generally. How should we track the issues? How should we resolve our issues? When I just talk about this, I can see all of this when I just go walking with my car. I am not far away from this. I see that we are the ones who cause the problems because we just take no action. We just give permissions and license with such volume and with no consideration with the capacity. Haven't you thought that you should take into consideration of the movement and the residents? Or it's just all about each one just works for their own interest? I am not just repeating myself again, I'm just shedding light on that, and also when we will talk further about such bridges, as you know, in Road al-Farag, when we talk about Shubra and Road al-Farag or Tahya Masr suburbs in Alexandria Road, which is in parallel to the axis that we conducted in Kubri al-Ubba. Am I right, Ihab? Yes, Your Excellency. And this will have even a higher traffic movement because it's more wide than the other. And then here, the Matariya Bridge. And the people are getting back from Hurriya into Midan Hilmiya and also from Al-Kablat Street. This green direction is for the people coming from Al-Hilmiya and going into Shubra Banha axis, or maybe go on the left side to Road al-Farag Tahya Masr. This is the exact picture of the bridge. This is Midan, this is Al-Hilmiya Square, and here Al-Hurriya Street for the people coming in that exact direction, and also vice versa. So people coming from Tahya Masr and Shubra Banha axis towards Al-Hilmiya. Now we have free movement, and as you know, this area is very cognitive with residents and facilities and buildings. Even there was the Thursday or Matriya market that's already been removed with the collaboration of His Excellency the Minister of Local Development and Minister of Endowments, and till last night we moved around 250 merchants, and hopefully we will just do the same to the rest of the 700. Dr. Mukhtar just insisted on having 3-month deposit. Well, what about those people who hasn't paid for like 2 or 3 years? Why do you just insist on those poor people to pay 3 months in advance? He just decreased it to be just 1 month, Your Excellency. And then the junction of Umar al-Mukhtar Bridge and Al-Kablat Street, this also resolved the cognition traffic. This is 500 kilometers and 18 kilometers in width. Al-Amiriya Bridge, which is one direction, but still it has 2 exits. It had 3 lanes, and then it turns to be just 2 lanes. This direction reaches to Sawah Road, and this one gets back to Al-Kablat Street. This is just to make sure that this have facilitated movement. The part of this is about the Al-Tagmid Square and Shubra Banha Road, the one that I reviewed, to Your Excellency, for the people coming from Al-Matariya Square and get back to Shubra Banha Road. Here we have 3 different bridges: Umar al-Mukhtar Bridge, Bahtim Bridge, and Shubra Banha Bridge. And such bridge we're having lots of problems that are being rapidly resolved with His Excellency Minister of Agriculture, who has allocated this line to us and helped us to continue working on the axis. Also, we're having a problem with the residents who have properties in this part, and we have communications between the minister and the residents, where we are thankful to them because they had just lifted their lands and allowed us to continue working. And I think that this bridge would concluded by the end of July. And just let me say that last night last night we concluded the link of that access, that people now coming from Bahtim bridge, they can be able to pass and get to Shobra Banha Road. And I think that just within 1 month it will be integrated for traffic. And this is the bridge from Mukhtar. It has also 3 lanes. And this one is Bahtim Street Bridge. Just please stop here. This is the access that will get people from Bahtim, and they will just continue and passes the ring road and going towards Shobra Banha. This is the green color. This symbolizes the lands that we got from the residents, and within just 1 month we will have concluded. And make sure that you will compensate them. Yes, Your Excellency, absolutely, they will be reimbursed. Last night we've got the length being made, and we just still have final operations, just to and also to make sure that we may even expand this part of the bridge to continue operation, and it will just take us 1 more month to be fulfilled. And now the ring road, Tariq al-Nasr, which is also one of the main axes that we have. And this road is also gets from 2 different main roads, whether from Joseph Tito Ismailia or from Suez Road, from Abu Ghazala Street. And this bridge takes us to the south of Cairo. So this is now 7 lanes, and it was before 4 lanes. It has 50 width meters. This is the first bridge that we have, which is the junction of Yusuf Abbas with Nasr Road, and maybe in that specific bridge the direction of the traffic will just move in with Yusuf Abbas, and we collaborated with the Minister of Transportation according to the space he provided to make sure that we have a safe march. And rather than having just 1 bridge, we made it 2 bridges to be compatible with the designs being done by the Ministry of Transportation. And now we have the 3 lanes. Now the junction bridge of Hisham Barakat, previously known as Tehran, this also has helped in freeing the Nasr Road completely from decognition. And this bridge also has 3 different lanes with 20 meters width and 170 length meters. And in parallel, we also worked on Yusuf Abbas Street till we reached to Mustafa al-Nahas, and we even continued developing the roads till Al-Tayran Road till its end towards the Girls University, which is Hisham Barakat Street. And this bridge, which again we faced a very huge problem in, which is Abbas Saad Bridge. This road, we have the Nuzha Road and we have Abbas Saad Road, or Abbas Saad Street. So as you know, Your Excellency, whoever used to come from Abbas Saad and get to Nuzha, it used to take them like half an hour, and if you'd like to get back to the U-turn to Nasr City police station, all of this area was very cognitive and hard, and even for people who were trying to get into from Nasr Road into Abbas Saad. So we continued in expanding and freeing this road. So people coming from Abbasiyah in the direction of Suez, it's now being quite easier for them. And also for people coming from Abbas Saad Road along with Nuzha Street, we have no more obstacle than there. So now when I come from Abbas Saad, I have just a free traffic with no traffic signs. I just can find myself right away into Heliopolis in just not more than 2 to 3 minutes. Additionally, this is the bridge, which is the 3 lanes bi-directional. And after that bridge, we're having Abu Ghazala Bridge, where we got those operational stuff were not completed, so it was taking me to come from Al-Nasr to get into Suez. It was taking me quite a long time. I had to go a very long way and get from Al-Maza U-turn. So it was causing a very huge cognitive traffic. So we have conducted all of the logistics there. In the same exact road, we also fulfilled the bridge on Saka Street due to the fact that the Joseph Tito traffic that we used to have from Cairo airport to get into Saka Street were causing a very cognitive traffic. So we just allowed for people to be easily able to move underneath the bridge and just get back to the highway, the extension of the highway. We made it just one direction with 13 meters with 3 lanes. And then Joseph Tito Bridge at the end, it's the one that we have executed on the ring road towards the end of Joseph Tito Street, just to continue with the traffic, and then we reach to the cross of Ismailia Street, so people coming from Ismailia can get easily into that road, which is in parallel to Ismailia Road. And this used to have Salam, very cognitive residential buildings, and we were having lots of operations for the Ministry of Housing, so we also had an issue before, so now we have also lots of facilitation to the movement, which is here 22 width meters and 240 meters in length. This is also one of the very vital and pivotal axes, which is Ibrahim Arabi Bridge, and it used to known before as emergencies. This now being implemented in parallel from the south of, from the north of Ismailia, and it's linking Gisr Suez to the Cairo Vilbais Desert Road. This also used to be very rural area, and it used to have lots of garbages, and we even used to have people resident in that very non-urban. Well, let me just remind the Egyptian people that in this specific area we just removed all of the non-urban areas, and we have come up with these axes, and yes, so those are Ahalina buildings. So this means that we still continue working. Yes, please continue. Just go to the following slide. Just get back to the previous one. So this is how it used to be just before we work on it. This is the exact image before having the works. So in this axis we have 8 industrial works and 8 tunnels. All of the tunnels and bridges to facilitate traffic from south to north of the axis. Just please continue with the rest. Again, this is the Al-Gabal Asfar junction, the tunnel. And then we have Gamal Abdel Nasser Bridge, and this is here Ahalina. And then we got Mustafa Kemal Bridge. And then the bridge of Tarat Tawari. This is the one that links at the end between Bilbis Road and the Axis Road. This is the Axis, which is 3 lanes, 2 of them for service providers and another one for emergencies. And also we've got another bridge, U-turn to Cairo, to help people coming from Cairo to get back easily. We will still have the development of Thara Street in this phase that we're working on. Thara Street was having bi-directional movement, and people live in the Medinti, Shiru, and so on. They used to suffer a lot from Thara Road, so we freed this direction and just made it one direction, and we created a loop from Hussein Kamel Street just to allow and to facilitate the movement, to help people getting from Salah Salim to be easily able to reach to the new administrative capital and reach to Shrouk in just more than 13 to 14 minutes. We made it in 5 lanes with 4 kilometers length, and the width is 45 meters. And then when we reach to the Abu Ghazala bridge, we get to Suez Road. And at Suez Road, we also faced some issues, and for sure people there were thinking that the military fences were just adjacent to the road and they got no exit, and also we're having a high pressure installation. So thanking God, maybe just a year and a half before, we have amended all of this, or maybe just even 2 years. We have removed all of those cables. We just made it LAN cables according to your guidance. We have just destroyed all of the military fences, and we made it for like 25 meters. And the Arab Authority for manufacturing, we just resumed their fences, and we were able to make this road from 7 to be 9 lanes, and the length of that road starting from the Army Bridge till the Cairo Ring Road is 8 kilometers. Now please get back. Just get back again. Just one slide. Right. I just want here to spotlight that when we found that Suez axis would never be expanded unless we get territories from the armed forces and the engineering authority. The volume of the territories and lands that we received to be able to have such image you have, it's more than £3 million. In order to be able to do it in such final image, we have removed the fences and we get into the military units 25 meters alongside of the axis, and also the same thing from the engineering authority. We have been able to do this because there was a chance. But if we have if we have some residents and buildings and blocks for people, we would have to reimburse and compensate people. And it's not logic that if we would just do any expansion in any of those roads, we would just remove. So I'm just saying this here to ask you all to help us, because we spend huge amount of money and we will never get shaked in this, but we need you to help us. Continue, Hap. Well, so after the 8 kilometers, when we reached to the Ring Road, you ordered us to develop the Suez Road till the regional road. We made it into 2 phases. In 2 phases. We started with the 10 kilometers that we altered the corridor from Rehab or New Cairo, or even the police units. So we moved it to free the road, and this took us 10 kilometers. We made it 9 lanes, 6 lanes off to the towards the main axis, and the other 3 for services provided. And also we got your comments while operating to make sure that we will have flexible and easier movement to help the residential complexes alongside. So the total length of the road, after we added the 36 kilometers, so from the Ring Road till the Ring Regional Road, we have now come the 46 kilometers. Well, let me say that even those 10 kilometers have been utilized from the High-Step Armed Forces lands. Am I right? Yes. So we've made this axis from inside the armed forces first, and then we made it along on to the Suez Road. Again, why do I say this? When I started to talk at the beginning that this used to be just 2 lanes and you used to have a very long queue at the Nuzha. So what do you think that these expenses in terms of money and time? So again, when we said that we need to have empathy, again, we were planning to facilitate your life at the best that we can. If you think that in order for us to solve all of the issues that we have in Egypt, it would take us billions of trillions of pounds to be able to help all of these issues, not just in road networks, but in everything else. But again, we're still working, and we are achieving what we want, and we still continue. Well, so continue, Ahab. Well, yes, so we, thanking God, have just completed these 9 lanes in full. 6 towards the main direction, bi-directional, and then we've got another 3 for services. And this has got maybe people with 180 kilometers per hour. So let me just remind myself and Dr. Mustafa that the system, the ATS system, is that right? Yes. We need to implement this system to control the speed of people. I am not happy to know that people may just drive with 180. Yes, exactly. So people need to be aware of the high speed. We need to implement this system because this will control and monitor people on the roads, and he will receive a signal on his phone that he is exceeding the limit and exceeding speed. Well, so just please, anyone just pass the microphone to Camille. Yes, Camille, you go ahead. Yes, abide by your commands, Your Excellency. We have a mutual committee between Armed Forces and Ministry of Transportation and all of the related bodies, and also Ministry of Information. And the project has been tendered to one of the international consortium, one of which is an Egyptian partner, as you just said, in order to not to add burden on this on the country more than this. And the consortium agreed that they will fund the project in full, and they will reimburse their fund from the revenues of some of the services, excluding the traffic and the badges and the propaganda. And this was a very high official collaboration by all the concerned parties. Thank you so much. Yes, this will secure and give safety and control, because we're talking about maybe just like 6 or 10 roads. Right. So the total we have 20 roads. So if we implement such systems, so as a country, we will have, in terms of the control of traffic, by utilizing of the modern and technological methods to notify drivers that they have specific notification for all of the road situations and speed. So by using the new technology to control those roads and to facilitate life, and also to take care of them, to provide secure and safety to them, because if they have any breach, so we will send them a notification that we have recorded another violation. Even after another 5 kilometers, we will send them another notification, and also for the other 5 kilometers, so 2 or 3 violations we will notify them. So every now and then we will send them notifications. So as long as you're just breaching, we will come at the end of the year just asking you for paying your violations. Well, so the bridges that have been implemented along the road, just continue, please. The first bridge is El-Gesh Masri Bridge, and this is the old one that we used to have. It used to be 2 lanes. We just left it as it is, and we established another one adjacent to it, and we just limited it to the movement to it, and to be just one direction, and this one to be another direction. So this is the first bridge, which was covering Nasr Bridge. So these are two bridges together. It gets the traffic from Suez Road and it takes it towards the Misaka Street, which is known as Gardenia Road because it's adjacent to Gardenia Resort there. So this is the two directions. And another direction gets to Cairo and it's also two lanes. The length is 950 meters. And then Tariq Dam Bridge, as Your Excellency ordered us that all of the old bridges to be developed, even the Cairo ring road has been developed, and we added additional two bridges to support and reinforce. So now the length is now 21 meters, the width is 21 meters, and the length is comes here the junction of Suez and Medinti with the new Cairo. This bridge we have implemented as per your guidelines that we need to make use and exploitation of the wide spaces. This is 96 meters and it's 6 lanes, 3 of them and 6 lanes of them and 3 services, and then family bridge which gets to the entrance of Rahab, width of which is 50 meters and it's also 3 bi-directional lanes. And then we come with the Al-Shuruq bridge that I presented to Your Excellency before. It's the one that we implemented in 2 months. Previously, we used to have a conclusion for those bridges in 3 months. This one is 20 meters and it's 25 kilometers in length at the gates of Shuruq. And then we also conducted the lightening to secure the right for the pedestrian crossing. The high mast and the lightening led to also preserve electricity and at the same time provide the highest lightening, and again it facilitates the traffic throughout the whole day. And maybe this was the first experience that we have, but again we still develop it till Ismailia and Fayoum road that we still will talk about later. And just before getting to the pedestrian bridges, let me just say that upon your commands that we need to develop Suez Road just after the regional ring road till Suez, and we work now and within just 10 days it will be also presented to Your Highness exactly how the final picture will be and also the expenditures. And also to secure the pedestrian crossing, we made 6 pedestrian crossing bridges in addition to also 12 traffic lights, because again the people were still not aware of the situation and people just used to cross the streets due to the very cognition traffic. So now because we have higher speed, so now we've got maybe potential accidents, but now people have become aware of the changes. And also according to your commands, we have made the 6 bridges and in areas like having schools and huge residential units. Those are the bridges that being fulfilled. We have conducted one in Al-Mahkama Square, another one in Al-Maza, another one in Kubri Al-Ubba, and as Your Highness know that we have a high housing and residence there. And also the lighting, the traffic lights are equipped to help pedestrian crossing to press on the light in just less than half a minute to cross the street. Continue, please. And maybe just one thing that I wanted to submit here, that in order for us to execute all of those operations that we are called upon and to be done within just the 3 and 4 months that such time and phase. This is never was being achieved without the well collaboration with all of the related bodies. I just wanted to say that the Ministry of Interior was playing a pivotal role and also the public administration of traffic. I wouldn't just say that they are working literally with us 24 hours, and anything that we ask them to do, they just help. Also, the company of electricity, water, and sanitation, they work with us. So I just wanted to say that even the revenues of those companies are approximately similar to the engineering authority due to the huge collaboration that we had with them. I just wanted to mention this because this is the right that we need to say that this is the work of the engineering authority, but we wanted to also deliver that it was with the collaboration of those companies. By the end of the speech, I just want to express my gratitude and thanks to the armed forces for the continuing support and providing all of the facilitations to have such achievement and such successful project. Your Excellency, we owe to exert all what it takes for the security and safety of Egypt. May Allah bless you and peace be with all of you. I would ask Your Excellency to integrate some of the projects that will be submitted. So we will ask you, Your Highness, to just start with the integration of the axes. So we will not just take them one by one. So we'll just talk about Muzhab Marghani, Alif and Mamoun with 12 kilometers and 5 bridges. حجاز الجلاء 7 مرات مرغني جديد العروبة. Go ahead. Thank you. Thank you. Abu Bakr Siddiq, Tahya Misr with 18 kilometers with 18 bridges. الموزة سفير المحكمة ابن الحكم الحلمية المطرية عمر المختار الأميرية. Well, Ihab, we said that these axes will be named after the name of Muhammad Al-Assar. So we will name it after the name of Muhammad Al-Assar. And as we said, that those axes have the names of our martyrdoms, whether from armed forces or even from police or even from physicians. So we need to put this. I told you before that we need to. Yes, Your Excellency, today we will put the plates with their name. Thank you so much. The ring road Joseph Tito, Tariq Nasr with 21 kilometers with 7 bridges. يوسف عباس الطيران عباس العقاد المشير أبو غزالة ساقة جوزيف تيتو.
تفضل.
Integrate, Your Highness.
توسعة وتطوير طريق
expansion and development
توسعة وتطوير طريق القاهرة السويس
of Cairo Suez Desert Road with 46 kilometers and 6 bridges, الجيش, Gardenia, الداعم Road, Capital, Cairo, حديقة الأسرة, الشروق. Integrate, Your Excellency.
شكرا جزيلا.
Thank you so much.
محور الفريق إبراهيم العرابي بطول
Ibrahim Al-Arabi exits with 13.5 kilometers and 5 bridges. مصطفى كمال عبد الناصر, طريق بلبيس. Here you go, Your Excellency.
شكرا.
Thank you.
محور
Ruxi Ramses exits with 8 kilometers and 1 pedestrian crossing bridge.
شكرا.
Thank you. Any comments, Your Excellency? Thank you, Ihab. Your Excellency, we will ask you for a short break.
السيد الرئيس.
Your Excellency, the President of the country, the distinguished guest. Technology and information technology is the new language of the whole world, and Egypt is one of the countries that has lots of activities, that has the public opinion, interest and concern on even the global level. So we've got the website for the presidency of the historical and the current activities for the presidency authority. In that regards, we will have Dr. Amr Talat, the Minister of Technology. In the name of Allah, Your Excellency, President Fattah el-Sisi, the President of the State, the Chief Commander of the Armed Forces, the distinguished guests. Allow me, Your Excellency, to present the location of the presidency website that put the Egyptian presidency and the leadership authorities in the advanced world nations that work mainly on information technology. And this website is it's a numeric documentation for all of the presidency activities in all fields on a very continuous, modernized location. This in the first place, this website tackle whoever is concerned throughout the whole world, and to be in Arabic and English and even French languages, and also to be a scientific document to all researchers, media, historical interests who are interested in the Egyptian history. This website has took us 18 months, and it's not a short time for having such websites, but it's entitled a very long time for the index of the news and material related to the presidency authority, and this being done with a very huge team with various expertise from the media center of the presidency, with the collaboration of information technology units. The website has lots of sections, first of which is the one related to the information, the main information and database for Egypt. followed by another chapter for information of the presidency authority, starting with a biography of His Excellency President of the State, the spokesman, and the previous presidents, and a huge record for all of the merits acquirers from Egypt and foreigners. Followed by Tahya Masr Fund and then the Museum of the Egyptian Presidency. The full chapter is one of the very important section because it combines all of the news and activities of the presidency activities with index related to the related topics, whether for the interior affairs or the international affairs, the speeches of His Excellency in the different commemoratives, all of the phone communications between Your Excellency and the world leaders and presidents, all of the correspondence sent and received by Your Excellency, and also the international visits. So we have a full record for all of the visits that Your Excellency has conducted throughout the 6 years in full, with all of the related activities, speeches, and also the visits. Actually, one of the most important features is the live streaming, which allows everyone following the Egyptian presidency to be able to follow on any occasion with the existence of Your Excellency to have a live streaming in the 3 languages as I mentioned. So now the website has the live coverage of our current meeting. Actually, one of the most important features is the live streaming, which allows everyone following the Egyptian presidency to be able to follow on any occasion with the existence of Your Excellency. After which we have a record for the historical balances that being documented with pictures and video conferences for all of the historical balances in Egypt, in Cairo and Alexandria. And then we have a chapter for the presidency, international and national conferences. And then the initiatives that are launched under the auspices of Your Excellency. Allow me, Your Excellency, to have a short movie about the website. A new start, a new light for a non-born infant, new era, new thinking, enlightening our roads, discovering yesterday and tomorrow. This is the light that links us with the world that usually we get back to have full confidence in our country, by which we can combat all of the rumors trying to destabilize our state, for a better future that we should build together with knowledge and learning, because technology and development are our weapons. For a girl that will be tomorrow a mother, for a student who will be a leader, for a youth with his knowledge can protect his people. Those are the sparks of light of Egypt that can work together for the strength of Egypt. Throughout their strong link, their devotion to the country, working hand in hand, getting closer, and have restoration and passion, have no ceiling and no limitation. Today, whether we have different generations, just one location can gather them all. This is the spark that gathers Presidency of Egypt. Allow me, Your Excellency.
شكرا دكتور عمرو.
Thank you, Dr. Amr. In the name of Allah, the Almighty, with praisings and blessings, I announce the launch and integration of the official website of the Presidency, and thanking you all for the great endeavors you exerted in such website that I say that I will give the chance and opportunity to all the Egyptian people and whoever is concerned to be aware of what's been done throughout the past 6 years. We've put everything that we conducted. It's called the Presidency website. It has Egypt in all the word takes, all the projects in different fields very accurately. So anyone from news, from media, from television, anyone would like to have documented movies for real existence can just get into the website. Exactly, Your Highness. All of the projects have been inserted and can be checked either by checking the dates according to the dates of integration or even throughout the topics and sectors related to it. So maybe if we can take an example, if you could allow us, for example, roads and bridges. So today we have integrated lots. Maybe you can check on the hospitals. All of the projects, Your Excellency, that have been fulfilled and integrated throughout the past 6 years are available. Well, what about the integration of the Armed Forces integration? Is it there? Yes, Your Excellency. Well, could you please take us to it?
إنشاء مجمع مستشفيات القوات المسلحة للعزل الصحي بطاقة إجمالية للأسرة 4000 سرير موزعة كالآتي: عدد 4 قاعة عزل بطاقة 750 سرير بإجمالي 3000 سرير عزل، بالإضافة إلى عدد 5 مستشفيات منها 3 مستشفيات ميدانية.
طيب يعني ده معناه اللي طلع في
Well, so this means that what's being streamed on news is the one that you have in there. Yes, Your Excellency, it's fully updated. Well, so what I mean is this is the exact streaming for what was streamed live. Yes, Your Excellency, according to each ministry that provide their projects regularly are also recorded on the website. Well, I just wanted to spotlight that when I just have a word with the youth, girls, and or related and concerned people inside or outside Egypt, now you have formal documented files that you can rely on to have your responsive answers, and even if you could use it for material for like TV movies, for any objects like engineering, electricity, or news or media, you have full detailed information. Maybe you will have just a half an hour for preparation to your program or to your essay, so you can just easily get your material. Those are formal database. We are responsible of it. Am I right? Yes, thank you so much.
كادت تسقط في براثن الفوضى ودوامة الخراب.
We were having almost nearby to have these skies that's been taken by the extremists who have got the umbrella of religion to take our nations to non-destination. But Egypt, the strongest that has got to revolution with all its people on the 30th of June, declaring this rescue of the country after the leadership our patriot who has got his soul in hand, His Excellency President El-Sisi, the founder of the Egyptian new strategy that has got the aspiration of all the world and changed Egypt to have a secured island in such a critical area. Now we have the speech of His Excellency President El-Sisi, Chief of Commander of the Armed Forces. Thank you so much. But again, it's all by His Almighty and also the people of Egypt who usually with their stance together, which is still till this moment is solid enough and a strong corner by which we can face any challenge. As I said, that no one is working unilaterally. We have worked together and we have succeeded in that together. No one can do it on his own. So in the name of Allah the Almighty, I'm not saying Allah the Almighty has been mentioned through the series. In the name of Allah, Egypt people, today we celebrate with the 7th commemorative anniversary of 30th of June revolution, such a great revolution that we have the peoples with their own will, with their strong will, the great immortal history to preserve the identity of the state, and has proven with their identity that when people cope, they can have no challenge. Ladies and gentlemen, the whole world has been astonishing following the spark of our blessed revolution that has eliminated all of the attempts of those who were trying to remove our identity. Those have been, along with the supporters, have been aware that Egypt has been completing them and that the interests that they work on have been nearly to reach. So we have got millions of people declaring their undoubted declaration for any stealing identities of their country. That's been taken by those who are not aware of the great stance of Egypt, and during which the armed forces was supervising and following those people, great people, and it has come to the interests of the Egyptian people, which is compatible with the belief and the strong belief that it is the safe and secure shield for its people, and it took its historical decision with the participation of all of the political voters and decisions to put future plan by which Egypt can move to cross all of the chaos and corruption to safe and security. The Egyptian people, we look to our current stance as a new chapter of the long series of our history by which we mentor all of the transformational and new challenges, and we work together to construct and to build, to change the current situation to a situation that we can be proud of, and to work in making sure that Egypt will be able to provide the perfect livelihood to its people. And we take into consideration the rapid world changes. And we were aware from the very beginning of the 30th June historical revolution that we will go through very excessive conflicts with an international extremism that knows nothing about the prohibition of bloods, and we've got the threat of extremism at the top of the challenges that we faced throughout the past few years. Whereas we have those extremists to create chaos and to have armed aggression in a very dispersed situation, trying to get back to the rule. And here the patriotic Egyptian people have proven their strong belief and their strong will by working side by side with their armed forces and their patriot policemen who has put in line the patriotism in place, who've been able throughout the past 7 years to eliminate all of the infrastructure of such criminals and extremism. And in such occasion, I would like to express gratitude and thanks in name of the Egyptian people to the souls of our patriots who have provided their blood for security of Egypt. Dear brothers, sisters, sons of Egypt, the revolution of 30th of June was not just a way of people to go against what was there, but it was the change for the whole path of a generation that has lots of historical position among all of the world, and aspire to get back to what it used to be and to have its position that it deserves. So the reforms, the economic reforms, were a very strong stance. We were so frank to check the exact situation of having economy, and we found that we got no other solution without moving forward in such hard march and to have lots of root economic decisions, mainly work on reconstruction of the national economy, and without the will and the confidence of the Egyptian people in themselves and in their country, we wouldn't have come to such achievements, where we have got a very astonishing achievements by the whole world, and we have proven by our people that they have very strong and solid will and interest to go forward and to overcome all of the challenges and the bottlenecks. And I here reiterate that the state has appreciated the value of the endeavors that Egyptian people has burdened, and that we continue working on the reform march, as we believe in the importance and necessity of confronting all of the challenges that we used to have. And here we come today. We have a new experience in confronting the corona pandemic, which has got a huge impact on humanity in general. And I here to declare frankly that Egypt people has got the right to feel proud with all of the patriot people, from the medical workers and for all of the stakeholders of the health and medicine stakeholders and sectors, to contain the pandemic, which is something that we need to stop here and to witness that we are solid and we are capable enough as a state and people that pursue no effort to have balance between the safety and security of people from the dangers and risks of the conference, and also to have in parallel the construction and development. Dear Egyptian people, the future of nations is never built by slogans and aspirations, and you can be aware enough that the Egyptian national security is linked to the safety and security of its regional borders. It's not just at the borders, but it also reaches to any point that may have impact negatively on any of Egypt's due rights, and no one would neglect that we live in a very conflict zone, and that all of the balances and the regional and international interests in such area make it much harder to any nation to be isolated inside its borders, just to be waiting for what being sent to it by the surrounding nations. And here comes the Egyptian role for understanding the value of the maybe threatenings or challenges by which we should have a firm and solid confrontation in a way that we save and secure the stability of Egypt and its people. And despite the fact that Egypt has got a very comprehensive power and force in each regional surroundings, however, we usually seek peace, and we spare no effort to provide good deeds and cooperation. We never trespass anyone, we never intervene in any interior affairs. However, in the same time, we take all of the measures and procedures that preserve its national safety and security. This is our policy, which has been established on honor on all of its deeds without abandoning any of its rights. Great Egyptian people, at the end of my speech, we are fully confident that with the solid interest and will, we will be able, by the blessings of Allah Almighty, that we will be able to have to our milestones of our Egyptian people. And I also reiterate that we will still work on our vow to save the country, and we renew our oath that we will never abandon any of our rights. I address all of you one more time with gratitude and appreciation. Many happy returns of the day, and Egypt, our beloved Egypt, to be usually at the top, and love Egypt, long live Egypt, long live Egypt, and peace be upon all of you.
السلام الوطني. فندم هنتكلم على شخصيتين في منتهى الأهمية.
Two important characters. Here we start with Noubar Pasha, the son of the Egyptian Prime Minister for 3 phases. He was born in Istanbul and studied in Paris, engineering and business management. He were post for different stations, most important of which he was Egyptian manager for railway and then the metro by Bar Impa. The name of our establisher, he was born in Belgium in and he was died in 1918. And on his recommendation, he was born in Church of Belgium. This baron was a very important establisher in 1900. He was called for a very important conference in Paris, at which he met Alexander Marceau. He was doing a symbol for the journey from East, and in 905 he was awarded by Egypt, and in 1906 he established Oasis Heliobus, and then up until 1911 this story, or the best of the story afterwards, that in the 50s of the last century this palace was sold, and thanking God the Ministry of Housing by the urban communities have purchased the palace, and it was delivered by the Ministry of Antiquities and the Highest Council of the Antiquities in 2007, and we started in 2017 till this moment to have all the restoration necessary operations, whether for the renovation or the accurate restoration works, and it was entitled to the Engineering Authority of the Armed Forces, and it costed us 175 million Egyptian pounds.
كان مهتم جدا.
Ismail Pasha was highly concerned with the notion of Paris, and he wanted to be called Paris on Nile. So he started with the Baron in purchasing 6,000 ferens in this desert. After that, after establishing Heliopolis Superb and Heliopolis Oasis Company, he started to work on the city, and he started to build a church establishment, which is now at the core of Heliopolis Superb, at a distance of just 1 kilometer of this palace and the street known as Al-Ahram. His notion was to be just a simulation for Champs-Élysées. Ismail Pasha wanted to link Cairo to such a place. At your left side, we have the heating, which is of the black and white marble, used to be decorative by lots of decorative elements. However, when it was just sold last century, all of these decorative elements were stolen, and also we're having one of those seldom watches, which was a simple of sun rays.
للأسف يا فندم حالة القصر
Unfortunately,
كانت
the
مزرية.
state of the palace was deteriorating, so we had to have a photographic document for the state of the palace before starting operations. And here we found that we have lots of parts of the decorative marble and wood were at very deteriorating level. Even the cement networks were all period. So we have got the restoration team who have resumed and just removed all of the deteriorated parts and used this the renovation and restoration. As Your Excellency see here, these statues were having a huge thick ton of dirt, and now you can see here before, amid and after the restoration works. So the restoration works have taken all of the international standards operations, and here is the result of their work.
اللون اللي هو السنة المحروقة ده اللون الطوبي.
This is the actual color of the box. So this was having different color at that time.
شركة واحات هيليوبوليس
Oasis Company, being established by Maron in 1906, has purchased 6,000 fittings in Heliopolis suburbs, and they were distributed that to make sure that Egypt usually have under its umbrella all of the different religions. So we have the construction for different religions and worships houses. We have got mosques, churches, and here we have these mosques that's been the first of its kind to be built in Heliopolis. And then Basilica Church, according to the will of Baron Ba when he was burned, that he wanted to be buried there. The engineer Alexander Marcel, he's the one that designed the church, and he was the one supervising it. Not just Baron Ba who was buried in the church, but also his son in 1964, also being buried in the church. The designs we have received from the archive of the Heliopolis company. We found all of the available maps from the archive, and based upon this we have resumed and got the revival of Al Baroun Palace. Even the color that was doubted somehow, we have got the lightning to get the exact color of that palace, and thank God all of the restoration team have been able to get to the original color since being established since 1907 till 1911.
مصريات جان كابار لعمل مسح على الأرض للكشف عن الآثار، والذي لم ينم عنه أي استكشافات، وبدأ بعدها في أعمال التخطيط والبناء للمدينة. وضع لضاحية مصر الجديدة تخطيط عمراني مميز لتكون ضاحية شبه مستقلة مكونة من مناطق سكنية متدرجة إلى مجاورات ثم خلايا طبقاً للمعايير التخطيطية، بخلاف المركز المتوفر به جميع الخدمات تجارية وإدارية ودينية ومركز أعمال. لتعمر بعدها جميع المناطق تدريجياً. ولإنجاح فكرة بناء مدينة جديدة بالصحراء، فكر بارون في ربطها بمدينة القاهرة من خلال توفير وسائل مواصلات مناسبة لإنجاح الفكرة. وكانت البداية بناء خطوط ترام تربط القاهرة بمصر الجديدة، تسهيلاً على الناس للوصول إلى الضاحية الجديدة. لذا حصل البارون على امتياز ترام القاهرة من الشركة العامة لسكك الحديد المصرية، والتي كان يديرها شريكه بوغوس نوبار باشا، وأنشأ معا الشركة العامة لترام القاهرة لبناء وتشغيل ترام القاهرة. وفي عام 1908 تم مد خط ترام من ميدان العتبة مرورا بالعباسية لمصر الجديدة. وفي عام 1909 تم مد خط ترام ليربط داخليا مناطق مصر الجديدة، وقد كان يبدأ من منطقة الماظة. وتم افتتاح الخط الأخير عام 1910 والذي أطلق عليه مترو هيليوبوليس، ليربط بين جسر الليمون ومصر الجديدة، وليصبح الترام معلما أساسيا من معالم مصر الجديدة وأحد أسباب نجاحها.